Okay, so we're going to do close placement on phenomena, and then have a little tiny break, and then just some nice compassion with mantras. Okay, good. Okay. All right, so just get yourself the good posture that's working for you so far. And so again, bringing your mind to your positive motivation. Whatever peace, whatever insight, may it have a lasting effect, may it have a ripple effect, benefiting both myself and others, all the way to enlightenment. And moving your focus back to the breath. And now start by looking at all of the movement within the mind in general, like the weather or the clouds coming and going. And at first just see the general movement, different words, different sensations. And then look for that mental factor that you're familiar with now. Look for feeling. And just try and figure out, is the main feeling in your mind pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral? Just checking what's going on with feeling. And does feeling seem to arise all by itself? Or can you see a relationship between what's going on externally in the room, with the temperature, with your seat and your body? A relationship with what you've just been thinking about? A relationship with the type of conversations and things that you've just seen? A relationship with your old karma ripening. Notice the way feeling doesn't come about all by itself. Look for its conditions. And now shift to look at the part of the mind that was labeling the feelings. So you decided that your feeling was either positive, negative, or neutral, and it was felt before you labeled it. But think about that moment when you started to classify it. That part of the mind that decides and labels what's happening. Try and find discrimination or recognition. What is it? What's it doing? And that mental factor of discrimination had to be responding to something. There had to be something there to label. Notice the way it doesn't stand alone. The decision to label and how you labeled, the significance of the label, all came from the past, as well as what's happening in the present. The labels aren't random or causeless. Try and touch that. And when we started the meditation, you were asked to identify feeling, and so part of your mind moved towards feeling in order to examine it. So try and find that part of the mind that moves towards, that mental factor of intention, deciding to move towards looking at feeling, that bit. So if it helps, you can again come back to, what am I feeling? But then check that part that moves towards in order to check. What is intention doing? What's it like? And for that movement of the mind, that intention, that director, for that to be there, there has to be a motivating influence of some kind, something to move towards or away from. It's not self-arising, this intention. And yet it has a function and an impact on my mental state. Just trying to be with that, to see that. And those three mental factors, discrimination and feeling and intention, aren't even the only ones that are occurring. But even those three show there's more to the story. There is also contact. There is also mental engagement. There might be other states of mind. Something positive also, something negative also. All sorts of things to color the mind. And so now come back to observing all of that movement and color and sensation and experience. Just come back to observing. But as you observe, try and see if any one of those pieces is self-arisen, independent, or stands alone. You already know that it doesn't, but try and really prove that to yourself experientially. So watch what's going in the mind and check, is there independence in any piece? Independent self in any piece or aspect. And if you get lost in the story of any of your thoughts or mental factors, be curious about the story itself. Did it pop out of nowhere? How did it arise? And if you get distracted, that distraction itself can be what you become curious about. How did that distraction arise? What influences it? Whatever arises within your mind, start to question very gently, seeing its lack of independence, its lack of self. So just watching and then asking, watching and asking. Whether it's a label, or a type of focus, or a movement, or a feeling, or love, or anger, just asking it, where did you come from? Who are you? As if interviewing the different mental factors that pop into your mind. And as you start to see the one that you've captured as being dependently arisen, you can let it go and wait for another one to pop up. You don't even need to finish the answer of where did you come from. Just ask it enough to see that it didn't come from nowhere. It didn't come from nowhere. And it also didn't come from itself in terms of influence and response. And so if all of the mental factors are bouncing off one another, responding to one another, reacting to the outside, reacting to the inside, decide to place some attention on that labeling factor of discrimination. begin to insert some control there that says, whatever arises, may I take it on the path to transformation, to development. As if you grab a hold of the labeler and start to direct it. And direct discrimination by saying to it, may all living beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all living beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all living beings never be separated from the happiness that is without suffering. And may all living beings abide in equanimity, free from attachment, hatred, and indifference. Imagine planting those four immeasurable thoughts into discrimination, that they mix with your mind, coloring it in a positive way. And all the rest of the mental factors start to be influenced by those four immeasurable thoughts. And dedicate all of the energy you put into this meditation to understanding phenomena within the mind in order to direct that phenomena in a positive way that is of benefit to both self and others.